My first guest began the new year by making history. His company became the first minority-owned fuel provider for the city of Detroit. I'd like to welcome Moses Shepard, founder of Ace Petroleum, to American Black Journal. Welcome and congratulations.
Thank you, Steve.
That is a big deal.
Thank you.
Yeah, so talk about what this contract means, first to your company, but then to the idea of African American businesses in the city.
Okay. Well, the contract is going to be good for us because it gives us a boost to not only supply local, but actually supply on a national platform.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been working on it for about 2.5 years now, since we started. And we were one of the successful bidders in the contract.
Yeah, and for black businesses, this is a milestone. You would think in a city that is 85% African American and has been for as long as it has been, that we wouldn't be reaching these milestones still, but we are.
That's correct. I think it's either, if not the largest contract has ever been awarded to an African American, it's probably one of the largest.
Yeah.
And I think it was long overdue. I think that we have a lot of qualified black companies here that can do business in the city, but a lot of times for some strange reason, it's tough for them to maneuver through the system.
Yeah.
And my suggestion to them would be to, just stay on top of what they're doing and continue to push and don't be pushed out.
Yeah. Tell me about the fuel business. I don't really understand, I think, how it works.
Okay.
Tell me how you got into it.
Well, that's a long story how I got into it, but I've been, years ago, I used to work for a company and I was running about 8 of their retail stores for them. Took them, made them very profitable. And
fuel stores.
Fuel convenience stores. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And I always had a relationship with the family, and my connections just run pretty deep. And
Yeah.
I end up in the fuel business.
Right. Right.
Today we're local, but we're getting ready to go national.
Yeah. Talk about when you make that decision to go out on your own. I mean, all of us spend most of our lives working for somebody else, and there's some security to that. What made you decide that it was time to do this on your own?
Well, years ago I got fired from my job.
That helps, right?
So I decided to start my own company. I had a music distribution company that I was supplying music to convenience stores across the country. Then that catapulted into a prison distribution company where I was supplying prison inmates throughout the United States of various prisons.
Yeah.
At about maybe 3,000 prisons that I was supplying on a daily basis.
Okay.
Music and electronics.
Yeah.
And so, I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, and various phases and different things and ways that I was able to get things done. I own a lot of real estate in the city. I'm born and raised in the city. I got so much passion for the city. When people were running away from the city, I was trying to dive in and try to help stabilize the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And it was tough for me to do business downtown, so I decided to go into the neighborhood and see what I can do, and I started buying blocks and blocks of apartment buildings.
Talk about when you started, what it was like for African American businesses, and whether that's different today, both in terms of the city itself, but just sort of more generally.
Well, I think it's been kind of difficult, not only back then, even still today. Detroit is a 80% black city, and we have challenges with quite a few minorities trying to get business in the city, which I think that needs to be changed some kind of way.
Right. What are some of the hurdles to that? I mean, what are some of the things other than just systemic racism and bias, which we all know still exists? Are there specific things that black businesses don't have access to that would help them get more of the business, for instance, from the city of Detroit?
Well, I would think capital, training.
Yeah.
Those are probably two of the biggest. Capital might be number one, and I think that sometimes when you have a minority company that's set aside to do business, I think they should also have set-asides where they don't have to bid. I've ran into some situations where larger companies that should have probably reached out to someone like me to do business with as far as fuel, they just put out no bid contracts, and a couple other larger companies received them.
Right.
When you got a capable African American company that can supply not only local but on a national level without a problem.
Yeah. Are there partnerships that African American businesses could benefit from that they're not entering into? In other words, among black businesses, but also between black businesses and other businesses?
Well, I would think so. I would think that they would be able, the black businesses should be able to partnership with some of the larger companies to do business.
Yeah. Does that happen very much, or?
I don't think so. I don't see it happening a lot, but in my business, it's a little different for me.
Yeah.
But you got construction companies that's building downtown up.
Right.
And
right.
I think that most of these construction companies should actually, set something aside to do business with African Americans.
Right.
They are building up our city.
Yeah. In the neighborhoods where you have been working, tell me about what's going on. I mean, we have this narrative unfolding all the time about the difference between downtown and the neighborhoods. How does that look on an individual level for you?
Well, on an individual level for me, the way that I do it, I go in, I identify certain areas that I want to buy in or own property in, and whatever, if it's something available for me to buy, I'll buy it, and I'll hold it, and I'll stabilize it, and make it profitable. But to my understanding, I hear that they're putting money in certain neighborhoods, and the neighborhoods that they're putting money in, most likely I own buildings in those particular neighborhoods.
Right. Do you feel like there has been a turn from just focusing on downtown and midtown to the neighborhoods? Is that something that's happening in the places where you're investing?
Well, when you try to build an infrastructure from the outside in, you have to build it from the inside out.
Right.
Okay. Without the neighborhood, it's going to be difficult for downtown to thrive.
Right.
And I know that you got people moving in from the suburbs, but I don't think that's going to be enough to really stabilize things downtown. The neighborhood is the core, and I think that the city government should focus on putting much more money in the neighborhoods as they possibly can.
Yeah, but in the neighborhoods where you're invested, what would you say are the priorities in terms of investment, the things that desperately need the money?
Well, school systems for one.
You
got better school systems, you got a better quality of life. City services. Being able to have the police come.
Yeah.
You have a lot of crime issues out here.
Right.
Anything that would be able to help uplift the neighborhood and have people not only from the city be happy, but even the people that are coming in from the suburbs to move in the neighborhood and feel safe.
And of course, the challenge is what we really need is investment in the people themselves, as opposed to brick and mortar. Right.
That's true.
We need both, but the harder end of that is the investment in individuals.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. Tell me a little more about how the fuel contract with the city works and what that actually means for your business. This is supplying all of the vehicles that the city owns and drives around with gas, right?
That is correct. Yeah. Well, what we did, there was an RFP that came out, and we actively pursued it. We put all our cards on the table, from anywhere from experience to financials. And I think that we fared out well.
Yeah.
And what we're going to be doing is supplying, what we're currently doing, I should say. We dropped our first load January 2nd of 2020. And, we're supplying the police cars, the fire trucks, EMS.
Right.
City buses, DOT, same buses that I actually rode to school on every day.
As a kid, right?
As a kid, that's right. And that's dear to my heart because it, gives me an indication of that I'm really helping.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That sort of full circle kind of pay it back.
That's correct.
Yeah. Right. What does this mean for other businesses? I mean, other black businesses. This is a big barrier to smash through. Does this open up opportunity behind you?
Well, I think this would mean that if I was given a chance to do what I do, you got other minorities just as qualified or even more qualified than I am, whatever that they do. And I think that they should be able to have the same opportunity that I did.
Yeah. I mean, is that something that in the fuel sector, are there other businesses who could benefit from you having done this as well?
Oh yeah, but I mean, not only the fuel sector, any business. I mean, I don't know any other minority fuel companies in the state
right,
of Michigan.
right,
You know, I mean, you know, trying to get into the fuel business is tough.
It's really hard, right?
It's very hard.
A lot of capital.
You got to have a lot of capital to get it done. That's correct.
Yeah. All right. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.